Hey everyone, welcome back to Norman Reviews. I'm John, and we are so close to the Age of Apocalypse. We are so close. We're so close. I already did 2 videos of Age of Apocalypse related comic books, and then was rummaging through some stuff, and I found these missing issues of Uncanny X-Men that I had that I want to get out of the way before we get into the Age of Apocalypse, because it'll be Age of Apocalypse is going to take a little while, and then I'm going to forget, blah, blah, blah. Because I was doing the Joe Mad stuff, right? And this number 350 is the final issue that he did. So I'm going to do this one in a separate video, and I'm going to bust out these 3 random comics. 345, 346. I've already done that one. This was with this one, so I have 2 copies of this issue somehow. 347, 348. I don't know if maybe we'll look at 349, but this one's done by Chris Pacello, not Joe Mad. I don't know, storyline wise, who cares really? I was starting to not to care. I was really in it for the Joe Mad art. But maybe we'll look at it right before. I don't know what we'll do. But let's look at these 3. So let's get rid of this shit. Let's see. Number 345. Who is this? Could he be the next X-Man, or is he their greatest foe? This is Maggot. And I can tell you, he's neither of those. I mean, I think he's an X-Man, but he's fucking... I don't know what's going on with him. He's got these 2 slugs. Joe Mad and his art made him kind of interesting, but then later artists made him this scrawny little dude, and he just seemed very uninteresting. He has these 2 maggots. Those are his powers, I guess, and he throws them at people and they eat stuff, I guess. So, there's a part 1 and part 2 of this, and Joe Mad only does part 1, so this Melvin Ruby, I don't know if we're going to really look at his stuff. So, Joe Mad, inks by Tim Townsend. Let's see, Guatemala, car stuck, translated from Spanish. This lady is afraid of something. She's running, and there's random generic monster. So random generic monster wants to die, her to die. He wants to die her. And you nurse a man who fell from the stars. Where is he? I think they're talking about Joseph/Magneto. So anyway, she's fighting back, hits him with a rock, runs, jumps, and he's chomped on by something. And there's these fucking maggots on him. Not maggots, slugs. Jesus, shows you what I know. And it fucks up this random generic monster guy, and there's his name is Maggot, but they're slugs. Are maggots and slugs the same things? Oh, you fucking tell me. I mean, he seems kind of ginormous here. To me, he always seemed much bigger of a character. Almost Hulk-like. Maybe the size of Colossus. It's really hard to tell from here. This is kind of an upshot. I mean, Joe Mad, all cool drawings and whatever. So, here we have Lilandra, part of the Shi'ar. X-Men were up in space doing stuff and saving the Shi'ar Empire. She's looking at a hologram of Xavier because she loves him. What did Magneto call her? Bird Queen or something. Anyway, she loves him. They're having a big old party. Hail Lilandra, long may she reign. There's Rogue, she's in it. And Joseph/Magneto's pissed off because people died in whatever war. It was a war with the Phalanx, more or less. And they won somehow. And they're throwing a banquet, so he's pissed. She tells him to calm the fuck down. I mean, it's funny. Like I would do this too. I mean, you get it. Like, I understand that there's a lot of people, but he only drew like a few hands and a couple of heads, and the rest are in silhouettes and then some spotlights. It's just random head, silhouettes in the background to show that they're in a crowd, right? Yeah. Random silhouettes. But, you know, I would too. What are they talking about? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Rogue has her hair up. I like it when it's down, but, you know, variety is good. And then she's still wondering if he's, you know, how she feels about him, because he seems like he's Magneto, but whatever. Gambit, outside the city perimeter, he's digging, because he has a secret. That's what we're building up to. Gambit's secret, and that's going to be shown in this when we get to it. But everyone hates him for this secret, apparently, including himself. So he's feeling bad. He feels sorry for all the things he's done as a pup. I think he's like burying some dead, so he's trying to make amends. There's Beast. There's Trish Tilby in a sexy little lingerie outfit that's just regular attire for the Shi'ar. Beast is loving that, but he doesn't get any for whatever reasons. Yeah, but she loves him. She loves him too. So next morning, they're getting ready to take off. Rogue puts her hair down because she wants to look good for Gambit. But Beast is making a joke at Gambit's expense for it smelling like shit because he was digging in corpses all night. And then the X-Men. Deathbird's here, and she's going to escort the X-Men home. Because she respects them as warriors. So they leave, and that's that. And then part 2 is just done by some other guy. It's fine. I think Deathbird wants a piece of Bishop's BBC. And he's trying to decide if she deserves it. Beast looks weird. All these guys, you know. So that's not bad. That's cool. So I think this is, this... I don't know what this mammoth of a ship is, but it fucks up the ship that they're in just by coming near it, throwing them off their trajectory. But its course was identical to theirs, which was Earth. Yeah, so that fucked up everybody. Oh, I thought that was the end because it has the letters pages in next month. But too little, too late, and the ship is fucked up. So that makes more sense because in this issue, we're not going to look at it, but we're going to look at it. It had to do with Spider-Man, and there was an interlude drawn by Chris Baccello somewhere far away, and they crash somewhere random, and they don't know where they're at. Hey, here's Bastion dealing with Operation Zero Tolerance. I reviewed this before the X-Men 97 came out, and I forgot that these Sentinel things Spider-Man fights are Prime Sentinels. They don't seem nearly as threatening here as they did in that show. Anyways, we've already looked at that. Go watch the video. Alright, 347, 345, 346. Now we're into 347. Gambit Crush. And don't forget about me, kiddies, is Maggot saying that, because let's not forget about Maggot. He's very important. Pardon me. Oh. Double fold out page. Okie dokie. So, yeah. The X-Men made a crash landing. The question is where. So, Gambit, he's somewhere and he gets hit by a big fucking tentacle. And he's soon going to engage in tentacle porn and pixelated bukkake. And some weird fucking creature that can speak. And he knows LeBeau. Can't even say his name right. LeBeau. So he knows Gambit somehow. And he's pissed at him, doesn't like him, and there's so much talking. But Gambit figures out, like, if this guy's here, then they must be back on Earth. So this is interesting. Liddell's story, Madureira breakdowns, and Townsend with Cannon and Milgram finishes. So I was looking at this flipping through this the other day, or last night. That's the other day. And, like, I didn't know that, like, it looks pretty much like Joe Mad's art through most of it. Probably did it, like, just rather quickly. He was kind of coming to the end of his... Everyone knew 350 was going to be his last issue. And he was gearing up for Battle Chasers. So maybe he's just trying to rush through some things. So along with this weird, what is this fucking thing? I don't know. Weird monster thing. This little girl in a fucking cave girl outfit. It's just weird, right? And she's mad at, and she's called Spat. And she doesn't like him, too. She's pissed. I do like this. And it's wondering if it's the finishes of, like, the inkers. Or if this was something that Madureira did. Just, like, the way, like, the texture on his chin to give him that little scruff. It's just a cool way of doing that. I always like that. I always like the way Joe Mad drew hair. Especially on Gambit. I emulated Joe Mad's art for a while. Well, tried. I didn't try to copy it because, you know, I'm no Roger Cruz. But he definitely inspired me in certain aspects. Especially with stuff with the hair. To the point where I still feel I do it, like, to this day, and I try to get away from it. Anyways. Gambit talking, recapping the fight with the Phalanx. With the Shi'ar, going through a Stargate, getting hit by a bigger ship, crash landing. Now she's straddling this big monster. This is just all weird sorts of weirdness going on here. So they want to capture Gambit. They want to take him somewhere. Like they were paid to capture him, bounty hunters or something. So then we go to Beast and Trish. And Beast is kind of giving what he remembers had happened. And, you know, big ship crash landing. I mean, causing them to go off course and then crash landing here. And he kind of figures out that the rest of our friends probably are nearby, not scattered across the cosmos. But, like, Deathbird has disappeared. Yeah, in front of his eyes before they crashed. But then he gets sick and he, like, passes out. So Trish is trying to hold him up. Then we kind of go to an interlude where Marrow, who was in this other issue with Spider-Man, her and Callisto were there. Callisto got hurt. And Marrow's still, like, pissed off at humans. She wants to kill him. Callisto's basically saying, don't give in to hate and be nice. And they talk about try to remember a time when you believed in something more than the hurt. And never read comics at the time, but Marrow was remembering when she was a child. And it was around the Morlock Massacre when Angel was captured. I forget how or by who. In the Morlock tunnels, and in that storyline, I think it was Sabretooth who shredded his wings in parts, and that in turn eventually made him become Archangel by Apocalypse. All this is going to come up later in issues soon, but that's kind of a cool little moment. And her just seeing him there like this angel being like, she just sees him as like this thing of beauty. So yeah, Callisto's still giving her some like try to do good. Try to be good. Do good, be good. This texture in the shadows here is kind of cool. The brick wall, it's like black and then like it fades out into just like this weird texture. That's cool stuff with the bones. sticking out of her. So here we go to Rogan, Joseph. I almost called him James. And they wake up, and he's kind of snuggling up against her. He wants to spoon her, but she's like, oh no, don't do that. Rise and shine. And good thing that he's not rising too much. She would have been really upset. Maybe. So she flies off into the sky, but she hits something. Like an invisible force field. She lands. He catches her. And he's like, let me cast an electromagnetic biofield and see what I can reveal. So he does all his crazy powers, Magneto powers. And then I think it's Rogue thinking to herself, just like, this was Magneto, X-Men's fiercest of enemies. But he's supposed to be changed for the better, but each time he amps up his mutant powers, he makes me mighty nervous. So Joseph here sends out an electromagnetic wave, or magnetic energy, and it hits something like a cave wall, so this was all like some kind of illusion. Like, it's supposed to, like, you know, you can see out in the horizon, more or less, but they're inside something. And then they hear something, and they got more of that shadow inking technique. If you see that in issues of mine, don't say that I stole it from here, because I definitely didn't. Just kidding. So whatever happened with that, 3 miles away and 2 miles away, these two groups also see that they're in some sort of cave. And this guy who made some kind of like gurgling sound calls himself Landscape. Name's Landscape. Does everyone have to have a name like that? My name's Jimmy. Or Bob. But you gotta have a name, something weird when you look like that. And Gambit, he's talking to these two. He knew them from the past, and he kind of figured out, like, hey, this is that guy, one guy, Landscape. Brett. This guy's name is Brett. That's what his name should have been. Brett. So they're all working together, and Gambit knows all of them. So something within his past. She gets mad. She throws something, almost hits him right in the dick. And she's like, don't start talking about friendships either. Don't try pulling me into those dark red eyes of yours. Don't try and charm them, they're saying. This kind of looks a little bit different from a Joe Mad face. Maybe it's the inking style. Who knows? And she's still mad. She's like, you went to work for him. And he's like, people make mistakes. And she's like, yeah, but not all those mistakes cost people lives. See, like, you don't have to have a lot in the way of backgrounds, but you have to have some kind of backgrounds here and there. I think we like harp on like Rob Liefeld for never putting backgrounds. I mean, there's no backgrounds in any of these, but you kind of get it. You understand where they're at most of the time. I mean, these are all very simple. You know, keep it simple, stupid. You don't have to have crazy backgrounds. You don't have to be Brian Hitch or somebody like that, but put some background somewhere. All right, so Gambit, he's still, you know, his hands are tied. He's still being moved along, but I guess he stole like the knife that was thrown at his dick. So he has it in his possession. Anyways, here's Maggot. And these guys come up to him. He's walking out of a saloon. They're celebrating Operation Zero Tolerance, and they bump into a stranger. They want to rough him up something good. Yeah, some of these finishes, these look a little less like Mad down here to me. But he's like, okay, but whatever. They don't get a chance to rough him up because his fucking slugs are eating up this truck. Kind of very cartoony kind of way of showing that, but it gets the job point across. Classic Joe Mad, like faces and shadows, but wide teeth, wide eyes. And Maggot here is looking for a guy named Joseph. For some reason, he's interested in him. This cover here, he has Magneto's helmet. Don't know why. Maybe I should actually reread these. So Rogue is just like carrying this guy landscape. Lots of words. This guy's talking and talking and talking. If you get mad, you ever shut up? And he kind of slips up and says they're going to turn Gambit over to someone. He's like, did I say Gambit? And she's like, now she's pissed. Like, what do you know about Gambit? And who do you work for? And then somebody says, and it's Gambit. He doesn't know anything. He's low man on the totem pole. He's like, just let him take me. It's fine. And don't ask too many questions. And she says, like, well, we're not going to just let him take you. And he says, I'm not going anywhere that I'm not supposed to. So he knows he's being, like, taken somewhere to answer for something. He's kind of fine with it. But he wants to do it on his terms. So, Gambit swings into action, trips her, pulls out his knife, energizes it, holds it up to this fucking toad, tadpole creature-looking thing. And Rogue's all happy. I should have known. You didn't have to worry about you. This little girl, she's like, there's tension between them. She clearly has a Major Jones for him. I wonder if she knows what happened. They're like hitting you over the head with a fucking frying pan about what's going on with Gambit's past. And so then, so the X-Men are like, they're doing well. They still need to find the other people. Bishop, Beast, Trish, Deathbird. But somebody, who are they going to? Who's here? It's this fucking nanny. I don't know what she did. Somebody explain Nanny to me. And why she's like a robot. She has these other androids. Like there's a fucking bat cyborg thing there. How is she a threat? Why is she a threat? I don't know. She's a robot. She's a nanny. Don't know. X-Force. Drawn by Adam Polino. That's a cool drawing. I like that drawing. Joseph and the X-Men face Magneto's legacy. That's in the next issue. All right, well, let's look at that next issue really quick. Number 348. Divided They Shall Fall. Cool cover. Tear down the center of Rogue and Gambit. So, cool opening shot. Spat. I forget this guy's name. Grovel. Stupid. Gambit, Rogue, Joseph. Double page with Nanny and all these fucking techno monsters. And somehow Joseph knows what Nanny is, even though he doesn't remember any of his past. I confess I have the vaguest recollection of the entity which seems to shepherd the rest of these monstrosities. But she still calls him Magneto. Welcome to the lair of Magneto. Welcome to the bottom of the world. So this is, it just says Madureira, penciler, Townsend, Holdridge, Vey, inks. So I wonder if it's the same thing, breakdowns and finishes. Or is breakdowns and finishes just a fancy word for pencils and inks? I don't know. And so they're going to get spring to action. But Gambit notices his powers don't work. All their powers don't work. According to our records, when the X-Men were held captive by Nanny, their powers were negated with neural inhibitor implants in their restraints. So their powers are negated, but they don't know how at this point. They put a whammy on their mutant powers. So, alright. Moving along. So Trish is here. She's sneaking and spying. She's being spied on by a technobat. So here's Deathbird. We haven't seen Deathbird and Bishop since a few issues ago. And Deathbird is basically telling her that the rest of her teammates, they're all dead. Only these two have survived. I don't know if she's lying or not, if she really thinks that. But she's mending him back to health because she still wants that BBC. And he wants to give her some bird seed. Uh, so he's sad. He's tears in his eyes. That's sad. He's sad. But she's going to make him stronger, and the two of us will rule an empire. That's what she wants. I honestly don't know where that story goes. So they're all captured. But something's going on with Rogue. And she starts fucking freaking out and has this like weird look on her face. She looks like Sabretooth. And that's what she sounds like. She starts talking like him. Take your filthy hands off me, punk. Essex paid you big time to do your job, and you did it. Now back off, so help me. We're going to be hanging. Your guts are going to be hanging all over these walls. So Essex, I don't know when Mr. Sinister's name was revealed, but that's who they're talking about here. So she's talking about Sabretooth. She's being Sabretooth, talking about Essex. And, you know, Sabretooth was part of the Marauders that was at Mr. Sinister's team. So Gambit's taken aback a little bit. And he's like, these words from Rogue are familiar words, echoed in his nightmares. And just as suddenly, she's out of it. And she starts talking with her powers negated. It seems like the memories that she's absorbed in the past that she thought had faded are swimming to the surface. So things are happening. This picture of Gambit, I always liked that expression on his face of shock, surprise, worry. All very good. She's like, did I say something weird? Like, nothing you need to worry about. Nothing at all. So there's Joseph. He's pounding away on some glass. And there's Nanny. She's giving him food. He's not having any of it. He's pissed. Release me or what? She chokes him a little bit because probably likes. And she's like, before I send you to your bedtime, see this. And it's a bunch of news about Operation Zero Tolerance. There's Spider-Man and talk about him and Marrow getting into that shit, you know, from this issue. And this happened in the main X-Men title with, let's see, it was Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Cannonball. And they were attacked in the Blackbird. So that's what's going on. So she's showing him all the shit has been going on since Operation Zero Tolerance started. God, I won't do it for a little while, but I may have to look at some Operation Zero Tolerance now that fucking X-Men 97 made a big deal. It makes me wonder about it. But so Joseph here is looking and he sees this image of Moira. And he's experiencing emotion he cannot explain, a need for vengeance. He's really pissed off at her. And if you read the issues X-Men 1 through 3, you know that Magneto's pissed off at Moira for doing experiments on him when he was reverted to as a child. Very complicated stuff. Here's Angel and Psylocke, and suddenly we're on a different artist. Must have missed that in the credits page. I did not. It doesn't say anything about a pencil assist, but this is clearly not Joe Madureira. But it is here. Cool shot of Beast. I mean, what happens when, like, Beast's powers are negated? Should he turn back into just a regular human, like the Thing? If Thing lost his powers, he just turned back into a regular human. Shouldn't that happen with Beast? I always thought that since the second season finale of the original X-Men animated series, when Sinister caught out all the X-Men in the Savage Land, negated their powers, put the collars on them, and Beast always had his... No, they didn't have the collars. They just something going on in Savage Land. But Beast never changed, and my sisters at the time were like, what's Beast's powers? I'm like, I told you the last time, and I only said that because I couldn't remember what I told them, and I didn't know. I like this line work here in the shadows of his leg there. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So Beast, what happens to him when he loses his powers? Does he shed everywhere? So he's sneaking through, but he gets jumped by Nanny and her techno monsters. And this little girl spat. I don't know if she's like a little girl, like a grown woman in a girl's body. That's kind of the impression I get, but I don't know. She's talking about she's not getting any younger, that's for sure. But he says, actually, you are getting younger every day. But between you and me, I feel bad about it because I know you got muddled up on account of me. But to be honest, I've been feeling bad about a lot of things I've done since we used... So she used to be an older woman, she is getting younger, and somehow it's Gambit's fault? Hey, Rusty, what do you think you're doing? Huh? Want some loving? Hey, everyone, here's Rusty the cat, making his appearance as always. And then he's like, he wants to know, he's like, who hired you and why? She's like, we both know why, and between you and I don't know how even a lowlife like you has managed to live with yourself after what you did. As to who, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And he has that look. So it's a big mystery. Who hired them, right? A big mystery. Right, Rusty? What is going on with Gambit's past? So then he hears a scream, and he goes to see Rogue. And she's like... Now the memories are coming up of Gambit. Because she must have touched Sabretooth at some point. And then she did kiss Gambit right before Age of Apocalypse shit happened. So she's talking like Gambit. Everything's going to be okay now. No one's going to hurt you now, Sarah. It's over. I know this doesn't mean anything to you now, but someday I want you to understand. You know, as I read these, I look through X-Men number 350 to remind myself. I looked through all these, but I was looking through number 350, and I remembered stuff, and things are like starting to click, and they are putting little pieces and hints that all like come together when you find out what is actually going on. It's kind of interesting. So let's see. Nanny comes in. She zaps them for some reason. She says it's bedtime. Okay, thanks, Nanny. So she's like, it's you. Your memories are floating in my head. I can see it in your eyes. He said yes. And she's like, tell me what they mean. Something so horrible, so terrible. I can't deal on it in your mind that even I can't deal with it on my own. Not for me, for you. Tell me for you. And he's like, just don't ask. Please don't ask. I'll do anything for you. Just don't ask that. And then Gambit, he's always going to take the opportunity. Hey, FYI, you know, our power's negated. We can touch, so we might. It's our first and our last. Might as well. Oh, that's sweet. So do they? Do they do a little bang, bang, bangity bang? I said a bang, bang, bangity bang, a bang, 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 bang. What do you think, Rusty? Put your paw right there. Oh, yeah, he thinks they did. All right. Will the 13th issue of Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man, and the Fantastic Four mark the end of a universe? Discover the truth this September. The 13th issue of The Heroes Reborn. I don't remember how that ended. I didn't collect a single one of those comics. Not a one. Is that the end of the issue? I guess. Like, the last one had mail and letters page and all that kind of stuff. Man-Thing, Moon Knight. Man-Thing was kind of cool in that Werewolf by Night short film on the Disney app. I enjoyed it. And then there's Shang-Chi. Anyways, there's 3 issues of Uncanny X-Men by Joe Mad. We're just like racing to the finish line so we can look at... Not that one. Rusty, where is it? You're on all this pile of comics. So we can look at this one. And then we'll be done with Joe Madureira comics. Until I decide to look at Battle Chasers. But that'll be a while. My brother Rob, he's been doing all the Battle Chasers. So I'll probably wait quite a while before I look at the ones I got. So, but I got some other older issues of X-Men by Joe Mad that we can look at too. My God, Rusty, were you in the goddamn dirt? Look at all this, like, dirt you're tracking all over now. You just think you're the cutest thing. Huh. Well, I wish you would bathe yourself. Anyways, say goodbye, everyone, and leave a like. If you like Rusty, leave a like for this video. Thank you. And as always, Rusty and I will see you in the next video.